Good evening. Welcome to Mansfield Cable. We're going to do a 2018 boys varsity soccer preview. With me tonight, we have two of the three captains, Ethan Brill-Cass to my left, and further beside him is Sam Nugent, both seniors. We're missing Captain Luke Savoy. We're going to probably try to interview him between now and when you see this and plug him in, because he'll be the star of the show. We call this Talking Soccer. Mark Murphy, David Cass, and I will be on later on, and we did a postseason preview last year, and it was a smashing success, so we thought we'd bring it back this year. But we start with the preseason. So I got some easy questions for the captains. First of all, gentlemen, welcome. Good to see you. Did you do your summer reading this year?
I did not have any summer reading this year.
No summer reading?
Luckily the same. I didn't have any summer reading this year.
Okay. Hopefully you plan on going to college, but...
Not that.
For the audience at home, which is, includes some old people like me and some young people. First of all, Sam, we'll start with you. What position do you play? And can you describe that? So say somebody's never played soccer. Tell us what position you play in.
I play sweeper, so it's like the last line of defense. And basically just try to back up everyone else on defense if they make a mistake. Talk to everyone else.
That's good. And I know this from watching Mansfield the past few years. Do you guys play a flat four, or do you play a diamond shape, or what's the difference between a flat four and a diamond shape?
We do a diamond shape with the sweeper behind the stopper, unlike a flat four where it's all just a line.
Okay, and I won't ask you which one you prefer because we'll save that for later. Ethan, what position do you play?
This year I'm probably going to play stopper, so it's kind of like a midfielder and a defender at the same time. So you do a lot of defending, and Sam's the guy who sort of cleans up after my mistakes, but I also get to go up on offense a lot, which I like this year, so it's going to be great.
So in your opinion, is the stopper more important than the sweeper?
I don't know. I mean, they contribute to a lot more offense, but Sam saves the game sometimes. So.
Okay. Unrelated to soccer, what other sports do you play? We'll start with you, Ethan.
I don't play any other sports. I mean, I play...
chess counts. I don't know.
No,
Okay.
I play futsal in the winters, and I play a lot of club soccer, but that's about it.
That's good. What about you, Sam?
I play baseball in the spring and summer.
Okay, that's great. Because we want to encourage the young kids out there to play, many sports as possible, including chess. It's very important. My last question for both of you, then we'll go individually. Are you ready for all that senior year has to, on and off the field? Because, if you've had older siblings, which I know you both of you have, soccer starts right away, even before school starts. We'll talk about the team being made. But are you ready for the college process, the applications, the season, being captains? Are you ready for everything?
Yeah.
You psyched?
I think being in the season right when school starts kind of helps because it keeps you on more of a schedule. So you have to get used to planning around soccer, and it helps you stay kind of on task and focus when you have to get other stuff done because you have harsher deadlines when you have to play soccer every day.
That makes sense. So time management, what about you, Sam? You ready for the senior year?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I don't know, it should be a fun year.
It's kind of strange because, I've watched both of you play for the past 2 and 3 years, and, you guys were always young guns, very great players, but now it's your time, it's your year, so it's going to be fun to watch. I'm going to ask you some individual questions. We're going to skip Luke for now. Hey, Luke. Ethan, and the audience doesn't know him, but last year, you're a senior now, you had to sit out all of last year. Yeah. Can you tell us what that was like? I can imagine, but I don't know.
Yeah, it sucked. I've been on the team since I was a freshman, so it was a bit rough to have to sit out in a season where I was going to get to have the most impact yet that I could have had. So that was a bit rough, but it was really helpful being out with an injury to stay with the team. I went to all the practices, all the games, everything, and just sort of staying a part of the team got me through it, and luckily on the other end I got to keep playing soccer, but it was a lot tougher at first, but I think my teammates and my coaches especially helped me get through it.
Yeah, I know your parents had to make the decision along with your doctors, but would you say you're 100% physical? Or talk briefly about your injury, because the audience at home doesn't, just briefly, because I'm not a doctor, even though I may look like one.
I had an overuse injury in my ankle that I've had, they said, probably since I was 12 and just didn't realize it. But the pain, luckily, isn't as bad as it looks when they do the x-rays. So there's just some cysts in between my 2 bones in my ankle. But it's not really that bad anymore. I can play on the pain if I just take some Advil before the game.
That's great. That's great. So no excuses. That's what he just said. Just one other question for you right now. How do you see a role in the field this season? Mainly at stopper position, but also as a captain. What style do you gonna have, like verbally or vocally, and also you mentioned like being between like a defender and a midfielder. So just talk about your playing style and your strengths. And I know you don't have any weaknesses, but
Well, I mean, all three of the captains sort of, we know our roles as captains. I mean, we all have different things that we do. I'm probably the louder one. Yeah, I'm the vocal one. So I'm try to be as positive as possible and help my other teammates. And you kind of need to give instructions, but stay positive and stay active when you're in between the midfield and the defense, because you have to facilitate so much, everybody coming back and everybody going forward.
that makes sense. That's good. Thank you. Sam, can you explain, and I guess this is kind of a good segue from what Ethan just said, the communication system on defense between sweeper and stopper, sweeper and keeper, which is a goalie if you're a hockey fan, and and then sweeper and like the other defenders, and also how you see your role as captain on the field. Like, so whatever you want to say.
So like I think the main role for a sweeper is to keep everyone in line and tell people like who to cover, mainly keep them positioned because I can see the whole field. And sweeper to keeper, which has been a struggle as Cam Bovey punched me in the face earlier. But they talk to me and tell me when to go for the ball, when they go for the ball. I think my role as a captain is more lead by example and like, I don't know, just hustle after every ball, every 50-50 ball, and show everyone what you need to do.
Sam sets a pretty good example. He was an Eastern Mass All-Star last year. So
Eastern Mass All-Star, that's pretty good. So this second question, because I actually follow you in the baseball field. The baseball team made it to the Super 8, first time in Mansfield history, and this is kind of a related question. How do you compare Sam? And he can speak for himself. Bats lead off and plays center field. How do you compare playing center field in baseball to playing sweeper in soccer? Or do you say they're completely different? Do you see any similarities?
Oh no, I see some similarities. Definitely with going after the ball. In center field, I go after everything. As a sweeper, I go after everything too.
So you own it. Like if you followed Mansfield soccer, past few years we've had some great sweepers. Sam, East Mass All-Star last year. Max Gurn was team MVP for 3 years. So I know Coach Sheridan looks for somebody with a little bit of speed back there. So yeah, good luck this year. We'll have some follow-up questions, and we're going to ask Luke questions at the end. They're going to pretend they're Luke. So this is kind of combination questions right here. Either one can answer or both. And we talked about your roles as captain and your style, so we're going to skip that. As far as tryouts, I think today, which is August 28th, the coach announced the teams, varsity, JV, and freshmen. You could talk about particulars, but are there any big surprises as far as how many kids made the team? We won't talk about the kids that didn't make it, unfortunately, but were there any big surprises for you? Because you've seen the roster. Or anybody you think is gonna stand out that those of us that have been watching Mansfield soccer might not know?
I think I didn't see any huge surprises, but we do have a smaller roster this year. We only have 24 people compared to when it usually carries 26.
We lost not the most seniors, obviously, in the league, but we lost some really strong seniors like Nick, Sam, Sean, and Jack. So it was a bit tough. So we didn't realize how the team was going to be going into the season. But the younger grades, like the sophomores and the freshmen, really stepped up and filled those spots. Yeah,
and those of you that are true fans know that the Mansfield JV went undefeated in the Hawk last year, and I believe their only 2 losses were to Brockton, which is a powerhouse program. I think so. They were probably 18-2 overall, and so maybe a couple freshmen and sophomores and a couple juniors from last year's team are going to step up. And I told the boys ahead of time we're not going to make predictions because Mark Murphy, Dave Cass, and myself made some predictions last year and they didn't go well. So, boys, individually and collectively, what are your individual and team goals? Either one of you.
Well, Sheridan starts off every tryout session with what our goals are for our team, and it's always first one is win the Hawk, or first one's qualify for a tournament, second one is for win the Hawk, third one is
do something in the tournament.
Yeah. So we've won the Hawk, at least when I was a freshman, semi-recently. We think that we have a great chance at that again this year. We think we made to the tournament every year we've been on the team, so we think that should be another one that is attainable. And we really want to do something in the tournament this year. We've had a couple unfortunate playoff games since freshman year, so we haven't had the greatest playoff stints, but I think this year we could really turn that around.
All right, and I'll let you answer, but I just thought about a question like, what do you think your strengths are for the team, at least, as far as not weaknesses, but what do you think the strong point of the team as a whole is going to be this year, Sam?
I think we have a very strong defense and should not let up very many goals. as me and him can lead the defense.
Yeah, and we have a new keeper. It's going to be either Anthony Salisbury or Cam Bovey, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you look that position looking this year?
I think strong. I
Yeah, it
mean,
does look strong.
They really sort of, I think, because they're in the same grade and they're both really good, I think they really push each other to become better. Anthony played a little bit in the playoff game last year, so he definitely has his experience and he definitely knows how to be a leader back there. I think.
Yeah, I think Cam's good too. He's very vocal.
Yeah, definitely.
Has pretty good range too.
More vocal than this guy right here?
He's pretty vocal. I don't know.
That's good. That's good.
Competition.
And I asked them individual team goals, and none of them talked about themselves. But I know, Ethan, if you score a goal, you'll make your father's day. So
Yeah.
I think you might each score a few goals, even though that's not your primary job.
Hopefully.
As I mentioned, we're going to ask just a couple quick questions. Pretend like you're Luke Savoy. I'm going to ask Ethan this first one because I think it's public knowledge. Ethan is colorblind. But Luke, what is your favorite color?
Luke's. My favorite color is red.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Have you ever seen red?
Nope.
Luke Savoy, how would you describe, Luke, your playing style as a midfielder?
I would say that I'm very good with ball handling and passing. I have very good vision, and I'm good at shooting. I think I'm
That's
very
good. And Luke Savoy, are you going to have a key role in set pieces like corner kicks, direct kicks, throw-ins? For those of you that don't know what those terms are, Luke, do you see yourself having a big role in those aspects?
Yeah, I think I'll take a good amount of corner kicks this year. Maybe some free kicks too. I'm not really sure. Whatever coach decides.
And final question, Luke. Would you say you're as vocal, less vocal than Sam or Ethan, or how do you fit in the middle?
I would say I'm a little bit more vocal than Sam, and similarly vocal to Ethan, but not in the same way. I communicate more. Ethan's much more encouragement, and I'm much more direction. I'm a center midfielder who has a very big presence with the team, so I have to make sure that everybody's doing what they need to be and keep everybody who's going forward in order so that our offense doesn't really fall apart.
And final off-the-cuff question is, the three captains last year were Nick Hyland, Sam Hyland, and Sean Lazzillo. Which captain do you see yourself most like last year, and why? Sam? It can't be because of the hair color, all right?
No, I wouldn't say Sam. Sam was more of a vocal kid. I'd say like Nick. We both played defense. Both can lead the defense.
That's a good
That's what I would
comparison.
say, yeah.
What about yourself?
That's a tough question because I don't really see any of us
I'd say
being
more like Sam.
really like them. I could see Sam a little bit just because of how vocal Sam was. I could definitely see Luke as Sean as
Yeah.
well because they're both leaders in sort of productivity. They both carried through the midfield so strong and had so many services. But I'd probably Sam just because of how vocal we were.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thanks, guys. That's going to wrap it up. As I said, we're hopefully going to do a mid-season, about 10 games in, and then hopefully a postseason if our ratings are good. We need ratings over 20.7 this year, so it's going to be tough to meet. But good luck. Please watch us on Mansfield Cable. These two guys, again, Ethan Brilcass and Sam Nugent, and Invisible Luke Savoy. So thank you all. Good luck. Good luck, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks. Really all did this in 2 days, but Luke Savoy wasn't available last night, so here he is tonight. Luke, welcome to the show. Luke Savoy is a senior. He's going to be one of the three captains along with Ethan Brilcass and Sam Nugent, who you met last night. So how's it going, Luke?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good, good. I'm going to ask some of the same questions I asked your fellow captains. First of all, most importantly, did you do your summer reading this year?
No summer reading.
We might have a good soccer team, but I don't know if there'll be a smart soccer team, but
Yeah.
that's important. So just going to ask you a few questions about yourself, like what position do you play? And when you talk about that, just think of maybe some of the 10-year-old soccer players out there who might not know what a left wing is. But what position do you play, or might you play this year?
I'm playing center mid this year. Middle of the field connects the offense to the defense, defense to offense.
Okay, and over the course of your high school career, have you played different positions, outside, inside, defense? Have you always been in the center of the pitch?
Pretty much always in the center mid.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on in there, is there?
No, not
No,
much.
no. Luke's sitting down, but if you don't know him, he's grew about 3, 4, 5 inches the past year or two, I'd say. So that's always a good thing. What other sports do you play besides soccer? And we know that soccer's your first love.
Yeah. Oh yes. In the winter and the spring, I run track.
Okay. And do you also play any club sports or?
Club soccer. Yeah.
Yeah. So, No wonder you don't have time to do your reading.
Nothing.
Sports is much more important than academics for all those people watching out there. So I just want to get that point across. So I asked your fellow captains, are you ready for what senior year is going to bring? Not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, meaning, SATs, college applications, being the leader on the field. Like, there's a lot involved. And Ethan said, he's kind of glad that it's the beginning of the school year. But are you ready for it all?
No. Not at all.
That's
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, don't be honest in this interview. Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's good. It is a lot involved, and luckily your parents and your coaches and help you out. But again, soccer's the most important thing, so
It is.
keep that in mind. Everything else will take care of itself. So, how would you describe? You said you're a center midfielder. I know Mansfield. How many midfielders do they usually play?
Today we played 2 in the scrimmage. We usually like to play 3 though.
Just 2 midfielders?
Yeah.
Really? So
Well, at the outsides we really play as forwards, but
Okay, pushing forward. So you got to have a strong center mids to be able to do that, right?
yeah.
Okay, and how would you describe your playing style as opposed to, say, Sam Highland last year, just to kind of a basis of comparison?
Sam has no skill whatsoever.
Sam won't be watching this.
All right, sorry if you're out there, but yeah, I like to keep the ball on the ground, maybe beat some kids, and then play someone else who hopefully do something good with it.
And how would you say when the ball's in the air? How would you say you are when the ball's in the air?
Not preferable, but I'll get it down eventually.
Get it down and get it where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Were you going to have a specific role for set pieces like corner kicks, free kicks, indirect?
I'll probably take them. Yeah.
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 Will you let anybody else take them, or you just kind of say, get out of the way?
No, maybe on some of the corners Connor can take them, but
Connor Eames?
Connor Eames, yeah.
I know last year you and Sean Zillow, sometimes you'd stand over the ball and, I don't think you guys are talking about, I think you were talking about what you're doing after the game.
Yes.
So, is that true?
Yeah.
So you look like a lefty on the field. Is that true, or you got to be
Right.
good with both feet?
Yeah. Sometimes I like to use my right, but
Yeah.
not often.
Mix them up. That's good. And the most important question we're going to ask you tonight is, what is your favorite color?
It's blue.
Okay. Ethan Brillcast thought it was red, so as usual, Ethan was wrong. So
Yep.
you got to go with the eye color. It's all about the eye color. Just a few more questions. There's only one of 3 captains, and how do you view your role, like as a captain, particularly on the field, but also off the field? I just saw Coach Sheridan. You're gonna have 1 freshman and probably a few sophomores on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. 4.
But on the field, Luke, how do you view your role as a captain, and kind of with Sam Nugent and Ethan? Like, what do you see your role?
Ethan's kind of the disciplinary captain. He'll do all the yelling. I usually lead by example on the field, off the field too. And Nuge is really quiet, so
Are you quieter than Nugent, or?
no,
Okay.
I think I'm louder than Nuge.
Middle ground, that's good. And off the field, I mean, there's a lot that goes on. I know, like, you guys do team bonding, like pasta dinners.
Yeah.
So do you have to cook? Like, all the captains have to cook every week?
I'm not a very good cook. No, I can't cook anything.
All right.
So
Leave that to the moms and the
yes,
dads?
yeah,
That's good.
we'll order in.
And last night we talked about some of the kids that made the team, and again, the rosters, my understanding, just got announced yesterday. Who was your biggest surprise that you think is going to be a starter that maybe the people that watch the games or had kids that graduated last year are going to be surprised to see, like, starters that are going to really be major contributors?
I think if he can get into form, Owen Malahy will score a lot of goals this year.
And he's got a twin. I always get Michael and Owen mixed up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we lost Mike to cross country.
Okay.
Not good.
And Owen scored a bunch of goals in JV last
Yeah.
year? That's good. Okay, so he'll be and he's going to be a junior?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else off the bench? Maybe probably won't start, but it's going to be when they come in, either defensive up top, they're going to be a force.
I hope Evan Eames will get a few minutes in. I like to play with him.
Yep. So Evan and Connor, they're not twins,
Yeah.
correct?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right. Who's your
very
favorite?
different.
Who's your favorite Eames?
Oh, in the whole family? Probably Evan.
Okay, there we go. It's on record now. And last question, because Mr. O'Neill's busy, but maybe not the last question, but you could talk about team goals and individual goals. And of course, Ethan and Sam last night just talked all about individual goals. So
Yeah.
what kind of goals do you have for yourself or the team this year?
Team goals always. We're trying to qualify for the tournament first, and then hopefully we'll win the Hawk this year. And then in the tournament, hopefully we'll win some games. Individually, I want to get a lot of points,
That's
a lot
good.
of goals, a lot of assists.
So it's just like hockey. There's 2 assists given out to every goal. Is that correct? No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
It's only one?
Yeah, it's only.
All right,
See,
my
that's a
bad.
trick question. And so, what was I going to say? Who do you think, one final question, who do you think is going to be the toughest competition in the Kelly Rex? Which team?
Probably Attleboro.
Attleboro. And they
Yeah.
were down a little bit last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that'll about wrap it up. We're going to do a mid-season review and a postseason, but final question, I'm going to give you an opportunity to make any comments about Sam Nugent or Ethan Brocas. Got to keep it rated G. So anything you want to say about either one of your fellow captains?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No.
Okay, good.
Like them both.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Season openers next Wednesday night at versus Foxborough.
Yep. At home.
At home about 6 o'clock?
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you guys soon. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
I'm Jack Cooney. I'm here with David Cass on my left and Mark Murphy also on my left. Mark's in the pink. I don't know if you remember it, but I think based on the thousands of people that watched it last year, we did a Talking Soccer episode for the postseason last year. Didn't say it, but we're here to preview the 2018 boys varsity soccer team. And we might talk a little bit about the JV and freshmen, but probably not. Today is August 28th. The boys rosters was officially announced today, or pretty much officially. David's going to talk a little bit about the roster, the starters, maybe who's going to come off the bench, the composition a little bit. And then Mark, a little bit later on, is going to talk about what the Hawks are going to look like. Probably mostly focus on the Kelly Rex, but a little bit of the Davenport. So, David, you want to lead us off?
Well, today was the final day for assignments for the teams. The coaches made their decisions, and Mansfield's carrying a 24-player roster. They got all 8 of their seniors in line. They have 11 juniors, 4 sophomores, and 1 freshman. First time a freshman's made the team since in the last 3 years. They had a reduced number of overall players in the system this year. So the rosters have been reduced. The varsity team's down from about 26 normally to 24. The JV's got 18, which normally I think they were pushing 21, 22 in the last few years. And freshmen was having was much reduced down to 14 players on freshmen. That's part because the quality of the freshmen was really good this year, and you had 1 make varsity and 3 make JV, which I think is a kind of a high number given what he's done in the past. So they're going to be the team this year with the loss of so many seniors from last year. We're going to be filling a lot of holes. I think we have about 5 seniors this year that played significant minutes last year. So they're going to carry forward. There's going to be a lot of open spots, a lot of question marks in who's going to be covering mainly the forward positions. The defense has kind of almost returned. Sam Nugent played, he was an Eastern Mass All-Star. He played sweeper last year. Matt O'Donnell was an outside back last year with Harry Brait, and so was Derek Muth as they rotated those 3 to that position. Ethan Brocas is going to be most likely going to be the stopper this year. He, as you discussed in the other section, he missed all of last year with an injury, but had been playing stopper the year before when during a period of time when Nick Highland was injured. So he's been in that position. So I think they're pretty deep. Their goalie is coming back, played a few games last year in Anthony Salisbury. Bovey's going to be the other goalie, and either one of them are quality goalies right now. I don't know. It's going to be one of those. Another big question was how does he kind of afford time to both of them, because they both deserve time. That's going to be another one of coach's tough decisions. But when it comes to the outside mids and the forwards, there's a lot of, I think, talent to work from. A little unusual considered last year. Last year there was so many junior seniors up top with the 2 Lukes, and then you had all the seniors working in through the forward and the outside mid positions. This year it's going to be a much younger group handling those positions. You're going to have a few seniors. You're going to have Max Bank, and you're going to have Connor Eames manning those positions, and you're going to have, but you're going to have a lot of juniors. Especially a lot of sophomores getting a lot of time in those positions. So
The good thing with Sheridan in this case is he subs those positions the most. So
The outside wings and the forwards?
So he'll get to try different people. The outside wings and the forwards, yes. It's usually the midfield and the defense. He tries to keep them in as long as possible with a few minutes here off and on. And he always likes those kids to run on the outside. He'll find out, hopefully in the first few games, who's going to step up and
given what we've seen from the last years, like you said, normally has like one defender that kind of comes in and takes spots and to rest mainly the outside backs. He doesn't like to sub his stopper or his sweeper almost at all. He does it when there's a score that allows him to do it, or there's an injury that requires it. But like you said, the outside mids and the strikers, he expects them to run, he expects them to run hard, and he expects them to, and therefore he subs, because if you slow down at all, take a step off, he should be pulling you out and putting somebody with some fresh legs in there to keep the waves going and keep the momentum going forward.
That's where he wants the energy to be.
So I didn't really do my homework and review last year's stats, but I'm pretty sure most of the scoring came from last year's seniors. We had with some good captains, some outside strength on the reserves too. I know with the exception of Luke Savoy. So we talked about the captains, but who do you see picking up some of the scoring, either from a goal scoring or setup, or even like the hockey assist, if you will? Who's going to generate more of the offense? You just throw some individual names out there for the audience.
Well, I think the obvious one is one of the captains going to be Luke Savoy. Luke Savoy, his ability through the midfield to possess, his vision and the strength of his leg give him the opportunity to really control through the midfield, not only for himself with some opportunities from the 18 and just outside the 18, but he should also, given his abilities, be able to find people cutting through the wings, looking for some of the younger players coming off the wings. So I think he's the one who's going to probably be the controlling factor in a lot of the offense. I think Luke Devine, another senior, is going to. I mean, he's so far, if you've had the opportunity to see Summer League, he's looked fast, looked quick, had his control. He's going to have a scoring touch. I think one of the things that I think they're going to look at this year that's going to be a little different from last year is I think they're going to look to mix in some of the defensive players more into the offense. Derek Muth has shown control, power, and ability. I think he's going to expect Ethan Brillcast to kind of do the same thing. That they have some ability that they haven't used in the past. Last year's defense wasn't really an aggressive offensive defense. I mean, Harry Brait would make some runs, but he wasn't really a consistent part of the offense. Matt O'Donnell wasn't a consistent part of the offense, and your sweeper shouldn't be really part of your offense unless you're, like you said, we did on set plays with Max Kernan back in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that you're going to see a little bit more of the stopper, Derek Muth and Ethan Brillcast kind of move more into a little bit more of a supplementary offensive role, so that should pick up a little bit. But I think we've also got, like I said, I can go over some of the names now that they're out. I mean, you're going to see, they've got a freshman, Dylan Buchanan, who I think they're expecting with his speed to be able to contribute some touch up the top. You're going to see Connor Reams from the outside. I think you're going to see Max Bank add in there. You're going to have Peter Aldo and Colin Caridi, who got some time with varsity last year, who are going to, I think, mature into a greater role. What I don't see right now is I don't think we don't have that dominant single striker that's going to be ball on foot, ball at net over and over again. It's going to be more of a combination setup. I think the closest we got to that really is Luke Savoy, because he does have that ability.
Okay, that's great. We're going to get back to more of that later, and more importantly, we're going to hear Mark's comments, even though he's not as familiar with the roster as David, but he knows last year's players. But we're going to do a quick overall preview of the Hockomock League. And again, every team is just going through the same thing. They've probably just made their rosters today or tomorrow. The season starts, I think, a week from tomorrow, September 5th. Watch Mansfield Cable. I think it's a home game against Foxborough, right?
Yes, it is.
So, Mark, how do you see the let me just, why don't you talk about how the Hawk ended up last year and then kind of turn that into this year, or whatever you want to do.
Sure. Well, as you know, and we all are, we're kind of stats geeks, so I pulled a bunch of numbers from last year and tried to sort of figure out how this year would play based on that. And if it wasn't mentioned earlier, so Mansfield came in second by 1 point to Olive Reams, last game of the year. But we were right there with them. Olive Reams went on, I believe, to win D2, didn't they?
They lost in the finals in
Lost the
overtime,
final.
but
So
they're right
I'm
there.
showing the strength of that team right there. And then, so when Olive Reams, Mansfield, King Philip was in third last year, and then Franklin, Attleboro, and Taunton. That was the Kelly Rex division. And I actually, not to make predictions now, we'll make them later, but I do see some changes in how that works out this year. Mostly because the one thing you can do is you can look at last year's roster and know how many seniors graduated last year for every team. And then I sort of did an analysis of how many of the top scorers were seniors last year to sort of figure out, where are the points coming from. The interesting thing about high school is there are sophomores who were, 5'8" last year, they're 6 foot tall this year, and all of a sudden they're making a big impact because these kids change from year to year. So even if you just try to project like that, it's never going to work out exactly the way, that's going to happen.
We're going to hold you to everything.
Okay,
I know I am. So.
that's
These are
fine.
chiseled in stone.
These
And
are chill stuff. So you probably want to do some predictions later, or maybe you don't. But
no, we're going to try and stay away from predictions after our
Yeah.
after our fiasco of the playoffs last year.
Okay. It actually was true though.
We were true. I know we were right, but we don't want to be right like
For the
that.
Yeah, I
record,
know.
we predicted Braintree would do well in the tournament, and they did well because they beat Mansfield.
We
so.
just didn't know that Mansfield was going to play Braintree. When we taped.
Yeah,
But anyway,
so
We gotta
Mark,
be
in any
careful.
order, I know you're going to do this, but OA won the league, won the Kelly Rex last year, and they went to the state final in Division II. But how do you see them this year?
well, all of Rams had 20 seniors graduate last year, so they actually have 9 returning players because they had a huge roster. I think they include some of their JV in their official varsity roster that they post at least. Interestingly enough, of the top goal scorers, and that's anyone who scored 5 points or more in the league, there's a posting of that thanks to our friends at HockeyMarkSports.com. Shameless plug.
Good plug.
They had 0 returners as far as the top scorers in the league for all of Rams. They had no juniors or sophists contribute because they're a very senior heavy team. So right away you're thinking that they have to have a dip. I've thought that in the past with all of Rams, and I've been wrong. So
They have a great coach, John Barada.
they have
is that his name?
a great coach.
Phenomenal coach.
They've had a good system for years, but I would predict that they would have to take a step down this year. I think they were just so laden with talent at the senior level.
Can I ask you to go to the? Sorry, Dave. Can I ask you to go to the bottom of the barrel? How about Taunton? Taunton's been struggling the past 3, 4, 5 years. Do you see a major improvement or more of the same? I know we don't know much about them, but
Statistically, I would say they're bound to improve, just because they are returning a decent amount of seniors this year, and 2 of their top scorers are coming back this year. However, I think we've noticed from the summer league, experience this year, Taunton has not done well in the summer league.
Yeah, I
Summer league
don't know how well that represents it because I don't know I don't know the number by face, but if you go by the summer league experience, the Taunton team that was playing in the division with Mansfield did not show well. Not only was there a
Some kids
talent,
go on vacation during the
Oh,
summer.
yeah,
Imagine
I know.
that. So it really doesn't
you know,
show much.
It
but-
didn't show both for two things. One is they didn't show a lot of individual talent, but they also showed a little disharmony when you saw them play. And I think that's one of the issues you have when the program's been where it's been the last 3-4 years.
Yep.
I know the coach works hard, and I know she's got a voice. I know she's lost some players over the years who have kind of left the program. And I don't not attributing that to her, but
No.
that's just where it happens sometimes. And when your program's on down, it's hard to get the players invested in moving the program forward. I'd like to see Taunton do better because you want the Hawk to do well top to bottom as long as Mansfield sits on top. But it's still, again, one thing I think that the theme of this year is going to be the huge question mark that the Hawk is. We went into last year knowing the top 3 teams. We knew that OA,
we did.
Yeah.
Mansfield, and KP were the top 3 teams in the Kelly Rex. This year, with the number of seniors graduating, the amount of talent that graduated this year, it's a question of who fills those holes the best.
right. Interesting enough, Mark and I both had kids graduate last year, and they played, and they're on to college and doing their thing. But they always, once the kids graduate, they always think the Hawk is weaker, but it's not. It may seem weak on paper, but by the time you get to the late September, the Hawk is always strong. It's probably among the best leagues in the state, along with Bay State League, which Needham, Natick, Braintree, etc. But all right, Mark, I'm going to go middle of the pack. Last year, we went OA at the top and Taunton last year. Franklin. For those of you soccer fans, before the past couple of years, Franklin won the Hawk, maybe Kelly Rex 4 straight years until the last couple of years. How do you see Franklin based on last year's returnees to this year?
Well, not naming names of returners because I only know a couple of them, but they are returning 15 players from last year. They only graduated 5. So on paper, that sounds great. I don't know anything statistically about Franklin because they didn't post a lot of their scorers, so you had no idea who their top scorers were. I knew a senior last year who expressed that the program seemed to be on a down, but there was some up and coming, he said, in the younger grades. So Franklin could go anywhere, I think, from 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Literally, I think like we could say that for just about every team.
Just about every team.
Every team could be 2 to 5.
Even
Who's
when
gonna
they
win?
had those strong years, they really never really led the league individually in stats. They were kind of like Mansfield. They had kids scoring 5 goals, 6 goals, 8 assists.
Complementary team. that put it all
Complementary
together.
team.
They didn't look great last year, but when you look at them statistically, they lost
Yeah.
a lot of games by 1 goal.
Yeah.
They had 5 wins, 8 losses, but of those 8 losses, I think only one of them was more than 1 goal. So they were in every game. So that says something about the program right there.
I remember, I think the Mansfield game, in Franklin
We
was
were-
a close match.
we
We
were
were
up
up
3-0,
early
it was
on, and they
3-2,
came
it
back.
got scary, yeah.
They put on pressure in the end,
Yeah.
and they couldn't find it in
was
the
a
end.
very hot day in
Yeah,
Franklin, yeah.
and so they have. I mean, they're resilient. They had some talent.
Yep.
The question is,
They
does
had
that
a young
talent get
player that
better?
we noticed last year.
Yeah.
He ended up playing a lot of minutes the second time we saw them. So that was the coach grooming the team for this year. And so that's what, I guess coaches tend to do when their team is now out of the playoff hunt. Let me see what I have in the sophomores who can actually help in the next couple of years.
Just because I'd like to mix up Mark's order, there's only 2 teams left, King Philip and Attleboro. I'm going to ask about Attleboro. Longtime coach Peter Pereira, he coaches up at Camp Manitou in Maine. For all you soccer fans, you might be familiar with it. I know last year they struggled. 2 years ago, they made the tournament barely and then knocked Mansfield out in double overtime in the first round. But again, Mark, I know it's too early, but what do you see out of Attleboro potentially this year?
I see that they have some of their better offensive players returning. Dave knows, I think, both of them.
I know one of Michael Russo is considered one of their better
Yeah,
players.
and Will Helper. No,
I don't know Will very much.
Yeah.
But I know I've seen Michael play because he's a Nova kid. So he's been around for a number of years. So Will, you're talking about Will. I apologize.
yeah.
Oh no, Will. The Will I know is from Foxborough.
Okay.
There's a Will Halbin, I think.
Halbin, sorry.
Halbin,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Attleboro has one of those teams I think has the chance to really surprise the Hawk.
They always have a goalie, right? So it always became, do they have a midfield and do they have a stopper? The years that they were really good, they had great defense, and they had a great forward.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they-
I mean,
they had a great midfield.
Yeah.
Back in the days when they had Machado. And,
Yeah.
but
I know their goalie graduated, but at the end of last year, he was struggling a little bit. They were bringing the kid they were grooming, so he could be pretty good.
Again, summer league. Don't know if it's indicative, but the summer league match where they played Foxborough, the goalie they had there was a little suspect.
Attleboro played
Attleboro.
Yep.
So last but not least, Kelly Rex, and I know Jack O'Neill's really happy because we're going to go overtime. He allotted us 15 minutes. And
Oh, okay, sorry.
So, no, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about King Philip. Mark and I know, and David, very familiar with the coach, Nick Gill. He's a great coach. 2 years ago, they won the Hawk, and they did pretty well in the tournament. A little bit of a mix last year. I think they made the tournament.
Yeah, they were 9-5-2, yeah.
What do you think of KP this year, the Warriors?
I think KP will be much the same. They had they lost. I knew a lot of those kids on the KP team last year. They were good friends with a lot of our Mansfield, and they actually had a decent striker. They had a couple excellent midfielders and a really good center back. They were strong up the core there last year. One thing I noticed about the rosters for KP versus many of the other teams are the balance. It seems like there's like 9 seniors, 8 juniors, a bunch of sophomores. He doesn't overload with seniors. He tends to try and keep the program building.
Looking forward to the following year or two.
If that works out, if the talent works out for the numbers, then I think that KP will be consistently among the top 3 in the Kelly Rex. So long as they manage that way and they have the talent. So I don't expect them to be. I'm thinking they'll be in the top 3 this year as well.
With
go
KP,
ahead.
what appears to have happened? I mean, they didn't lose. I mean, the numbers. I think they only graduated 8 or 9 out of the team.
They had 9 seniors last year.
9 seniors. They were retaining about 50, somewhere in the 15 range.
Yep.
The thing is, the quality of what they graduated was very high.
It was.
It really was the strength of their team. They have a good midfielder who's going to be a senior this year, Zach White. I have to give a shout out to him. He's a good kid, a friend of some of the players on the team. But I think it's hard to replace that level of talent in all 5 of those positions. I think that's what Mansfield's going to be a bit of a question mark. Similarly, when you lose the amount of talent you do, there's a huge question mark as to how people step into the roles and how they fill in.
Yeah.
It's who's going to score on Mansfield.
Yeah.
Is the question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but as I mentioned I was talking with Coach the other day after one of the scrimmages where we had a number of opportunities and we only put 1 in. I said, you guys got to work on finishing, and he said to me, when does Mansfield not have to work
I
on
know.
finishing?
Yeah, that's the
So,
truth. Yep.
I'm told that's how he lost his hair, by pulling his hair out for a lack of goal scoring. But hopefully Coach Sheridan won't watch this. Mark, in the interest of time, I'm just going to ask you some general thing about the Davenport. I do know opening night, it's a night game in Mansfield next Wednesday, playing Foxborough. And I remember last year the opener, it ended in a 0-0 tie. Unlike the Kelly Rex where Mansfield plays each opponent twice, the Davenport, you get 1 shot at them and they only get 1 shot at you. So how do you view Foxborough? Like they went on to make the tournament and maybe win a game in the tournament, I think.
Yeah, I think Foxborough, and then again another team that showed well during the summer league, as far as I can tell.
they were undefeated until they played us in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
they play like their coach played, ex-Revolution player who was hard as nails, and they play like that on the field
Joe
themselves.
Franchino.
And Joey
Yep.
Franchino. They actually, the funny thing about the Davenport is they are returning a ton of talent. The Davenport, almost every team over there is returning more than the Kelly Rex. In Foxborough's that team right in between. They had like 12 seniors graduate last year, but they have 12 returning. They have 10 juniors, and they played a lot of minutes last year, the juniors. So I expect them to be. I expect a lot of the Davenport games to be as competitive, if not harder, than the Kelly Rex games, and that sometimes isn't the case in the
Yeah.
state, right?
That's what's great about soccer. If you're fans, like in football, I hate to say it, usually the Kelly Rex kind of dominates because it's a bigger program and you get more kids in the football program. Soccer, even before the division split, the Davenport, the Cantons, the Foxboroughs,
Oliver Ames.
Oliver
when
Ames
they were in the Davenport.
did well.
Yep,
But
yep.
so I think you mentioned who else, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, besides Foxborough, who might be a darker? Who is going to potentially surprise us this year?
Well, last year, I'll just tell you, last year, the North Attleboro won the Davenport, and then there was
Forgot
a
about
tie between Canton and Foxborough. North Attleboro was a surprise to some of us last year, and we'll see why. And then Milford, Sharon, and Stoughton rounded out the order last year. North Attleboro graduated 13 seniors last year, and those seniors played most of the minutes. From what I
They
can
were a
see.
senior dominant
They
team
were a
last
senior
year.
dominant team. They're only returning 7. Canton, however, tied for second last year with Foxborough, is returning 18 players. So they only graduated 5. And amongst those 18 players, they had 48 points scored, for goals and assists, far and away better than any other team in either Davenport or the Kelly Rex. So
kids returning or kids
kids
graduating?
returning. They're
Wow.
the number 1 scorer and the number 5 scorer in the league. Were both juniors last year for Canton. So
And
need to be
we
ready
will
for
not
the-
play them at Gillette this year, correct?
as far as I know, we're not playing any games at Gillette. Have you
Hopefully we're
heard
not.
any
I
other list?
don't believe we're playing any games in July.
Mansfield doesn't have a good record at Gillette
I
Stadium.
think we
for
should
the
have
record.
them home. Didn't we play them away last year?
I believe we did.
So that means we would have Canton home
I
this
don't
year.
have, I didn't bring the roster. I didn't bring the schedule with me, but
So we'll have Foxborough home, Canton home, and North Attleboro home, probably, because we had Milford at home last year, Sharon at home, and no, Stoughton we were away last.
yeah.
So yeah, we're Stoughton. So I definitely would worry about Canton, Foxborough, and Milford from the Davenport. Would be the top 3.
Yeah, I think Milford's got a chance to
Milford,
step up.
Milford has a great striker. They have a great midfielder. They're one of the only returning keepers in the league who played significant minutes last year. So again, there's that sort of that backbone there of the middle. And they had a lot of young talent that looked pretty good last year. So again, the Davenport games scared me quite a bit this year. I'm glad we only played them once. To be honest with you.
So if you're watching at home, I know you all are. Make sure you take notes. Watch this back and write all these predictions down. We're going to be back here in the middle of the season, and we can all, critique
You can
each
all
other.
tell us how wrong
And I
we've
won't go
been.
into details or anything else.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's
I'll leave it at that.
But back, just a quick summary back to the team, and because Jack O'Neill, it's past his bedtime. So, what we've mentioned, we want another shout out to the captains, Luke Savoy, Ethan Brillcast, and Sam Nugent. It's a lot of responsibility for the captains and their parents. Taking on the role of seniors and leaders and being vocal and trying to account for all their teammates on and off the field as much as they can. But besides the captains, what returner from last year, I'll ask either one of you, is going to have a much bigger role that you won't be surprised, like as of what you saw this summer, Dave, or in the New Bedford tournament?
I'll
which
go
Mansfield
first.
won. Go ahead.
Because I know you have more to say, because I don't know enough. But I thought of the
You're
kids
gonna steal my guy though. Don't steal my guy.
CC.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
you go
So
ahead.
I think maybe a surprise this year, maybe not, would be Colin Caridi, who played, I wouldn't say significant minutes last year, but he definitely had, he was in the rotation. As the season went on, he got a few more minutes here and there. And he definitely is a Coach Sheridan kind of player. He is, run through a wall if he has to. Not the biggest player in the field, but you can't tell him that. He has some skills. I haven't seen him. He kept moving in different positions. He played a little forward, played a little midfield, occasionally outside mid. So I'm not sure where his position will be there. But if he ends up in the right slotted position and they find him, I think he will produce some assists at least, if not some goals. And certainly a lot of heart.
Yeah, I think you'll see him slotted on a lot of the outside mid minutes, and he'll also be moving to the middle if either of the Lukes, kind of presupposing that the Lukes are going to be dominating the inside mids on that. I don't know, there may be some movement of Luke Devine around to give him some more opportunities as kind of a rover or as a striker, which then you'd see someone like Colin slide into the middle as well. But yeah, I think Colin's going to be able to add a lot from either position.
So am I safe to assume that Luke Devine is your pick for a bigger role this year? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just did.
I think the easiest choice, and I'm going to try and sound as smart and go with the easy one, but I think Anthony Salisbury is going to be was kind of split time at the early in the season, but I think coach then kind of went with the senior goalie for the kind of the tail end of the season. I think Salisbury is going to add a lot to this team. I think, again, I don't know how much they'll do it, but I think there's the opportunity to play back and use the goalie a little bit more from the defensive perspective, which opens up a little more of build out of the back to some degree. I think you're also going to see. I think Peter Aldo was going to come. He's another one who was called up last year who can add a lot to it. I think you're going to see a lot more from Derek Muth. Derek Muth last year really
picking
was.
one, by the way.
Sorry, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Derek Muth
Yeah.
played predominantly a defensive role last year, and I think this year he's going to play kind of a hybrid defense-offensive role, which means you're going to see him more involved farther up into the midfield.
Yeah. Mark knows that Derek Muth is my favorite player, but it has nothing to do with what he does on the soccer field. It's because of in-town basketball. So
Oh, yeah.
shout out to you, Derek Muth.
Now I remember why. Yes.
I'm in your corner. So we're going to wrap it up really quickly. Off the bench, God forbid, there's no injuries, but there may be. Just three players between the two of you. Who's going to be the first defender off the bench? Who's going to be the first midfielder off the bench? And who's going to be the first forward off the bench? Again,
First
Off the
defender
top of your head.
First defender off the bench is hard because that one I don't think has been settled.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some opportunities. You've got Cam Bovey, you've got Tim Bradley, you've got. I think those. I don't think you're going to see a senior really come off the bench into the defensive thing. I think you could put Connor Eames back there, but he's been, I think, slotted more as a midfielder from what we've seen from the preseason and the scrimmages. I think those are the two that will kind of jump up there. Graham Wells may get some minutes there. That's really I think he has a very short defensive
I can see
rotation.
Connor doing a little stopper. Not,
Yeah.
not outside D or sweeper. I can see him do some stopper
Yeah.
because if he's anything like his older brothers.
Yeah, I think when you step down and you go into the sophomores, I think you're going to see maybe Ethan Scholes.
That's a name
I don't know if it's Scholes
yeah.
or Scholes.
Yeah. We
But
gotta
I
get
think
the
you're going to
spelling
see
right
him.
next
Yeah,
time.
you're going to see him. I think you might see him slotted in for some minutes as an outside back. I think that's really the depth, kind of the end of the depth of the defense.
Thanks. And we are going to wrap it up. Season starts next Wednesday. If you happen to be coming back from some vacation, you come across Mansfield Cable and you see this Talking Soccer, just watch it. Just put it on mute. Just look to the guy in the middle. But we'll be back in the midseason. But come to the games. They're at the turf. A lot of the night games this year. It's going to be an exciting team because it's going to be a little bit unpredictable. There's more returnees, but if you haven't seen soccer since your kids were 7 or 8, come out there. It's exciting. It's fast. It's physical. It's fun. And if you miss the game, watch us on cable because it's awesome.
Yep.
But thanks a lot, and thanks to Mark
Thank you,
Murphy
Jack.
and,
Yep.
and David Cass, and
First game September 5th, 6 o'clock, I believe, home opener.
Yep.
and thanks to Jack O'Neill. Good night.
Yep.